Nobody move.
Nobody gets hurt.
I'm Nick G.
I'm Mike D.
And this is Good Cop, Bad Cop. I'd like to thank our sponsors today, Pop McCann Whiskey, smoothest drink in the land. Grab your bottle today at popsmccannwhiskey.com. Also like to thank Friends of Martina White. Visit votemartina.com for more information about the work Martina has been doing as state representative of Pennsylvania. We would also like to thank our sponsor, Beyond Creative. If you're ready to take your online presence to the next level, visit beyondocreative.com or call 267-362-WEB1 to discuss your project. And our title sponsor, AR Law, arjusticenow.com. We fight so you don't have to. Adams Renzi Law. We would also like to thank our sponsor, Morrow Flooring, hardwood, laminate, vinyl, tile, and carpet. You get military and first responders discount. That is Morrow Flooring. You can go to goodcopbadcoppodcast.com. Click on his link for more details. All right, welcome back to another show of Good Cop, Bad Cop. What's up, Mike D?
What's up, Nicky G?
So we have a good show today lined up. I'd like to say happy show. So far in our short tenure here, we've had a month of shows out right now. So please go to our YouTube, hit that like button, subscribe, please. Smash it. Whatever, however you want to do it to that button, just make sure it gets done. Share it with your friends. You know, we've had some lighthearted laughs on here with our friend Nick from the prisons.
Yeah.
A lot more serious life and death with Officer Tommy Morrow. And unfortunately today, this is going to be somewhat of a depressing story that we hope to get out there. With us today, we have Drew and Barbara
Odradi. And just so you know, we're not going to be morbid here. We're going to try to lighten the mood a little bit. It's a very serious subject matter.
Yeah, so this is what's going on right here. So their son, Salvatore, which is my favorite name. It's my father's name. Rest in peace, Salvatore. He was, it's hard to say, not falsely. So he was involved in a police shooting several years ago. What year would that be?
2021.
2021. And this is in New Jersey. Their son, Salvatore, is a Mantua Police Officer.
Yes.
Correct.
He's a Mantua Police Officer. And how many years did he have on the job at this point?
Oh gosh, he's been on since he was 19. So at this time he's 24.
Okay, so I just want to give the listeners a real quick recap of what we're going to discuss here. So he has about 6 years on the job. He's not a rookie. And from what I understand, he is the point man for the Mantua Police Department's training. He teaches other officers how to deal with mental health issues. He's a firearms instructor. I mean, this guy's high quality. He's a high-speed officer. He's not a rookie.
Right.
Comes to his scene, gets into a shooting. It gets deemed by the Attorney General of New Jersey a good shooting. This is what happens. Every shooting across the country will get investigated. So lawyers have looked at it. Prosecutors, they deem that this is a good shooting. Lo and behold, a few years later, life has moved on for everybody. I know Salvatore was dealing with some PTSD. A new Attorney General comes in. And like we've seen with the George Floyd riots, and recently he's one of those George Soros. I can't say for sure if he got money from him, but he's of that ilk. He is a let-him-go Larry Krasner kind of Attorney General. He doesn't believe in the police. In fact,
he's a restorative justice.
He hates the police.
Yeah.
And he's been attacking police officers up and down New Jersey. He reopened Salvatore Odradi's case, and he indicted him, which is an absolute disgrace, a slap in the face of law enforcement. He's supposed to be New Jersey's top cop. He's a real scumbag piece of shit, and his name is Matt Plankton. Can we put his picture up here?
Matt Plankton. Is that like plankton?
There he is. Look at that fucking...
Isn't that the fish?
Look at that face.
Oh, yeah.
Is that a hate the face?
No, that's
I hate the face. I want to punch that guy in the face.
That's a scumbag. What's he
Just
doing with a
look
red
at him.
tie anyway?
Weasel.
What's he doing with a red tie on? Anyway.
He's a fucking weasel. Anyway, that's who this guy is, Matt Plankton. So we're going to get into the story from the beginning, and it's going to really open up your eyes at how evil and these bastards, radical district attorneys, Attorney General in this case,
all trying to make a name for themselves. Yeah. Really, what this comes down to, by the way, and they don't. So just
exactly what it is.
Just a little background. So when I get arrested, by the way, for things that I did do. All right, just so you know how it works. Everybody involved in my case that was involved in my arrest, and then my debriefings, and then my Mullen Commission hearings, they all have amazing careers from there on out. So they build this foundation for themselves the whole time. It's not about justice. It's not about liberty blindness. It's about what they can get from any particular call it tragedy, call it incident, whatever it happens to be. It's all about their career and what can advance them. And I don't know that this is specifically the case, but we'll get into it.
I have a feeling. Would you say that's a fair assessment? This is something that he's, cutting his teeth on?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so boom, right off the bat, we're on target. So before we go into it, let's get a little bit about yourself. Drew?
Yeah, I'm a Philadelphia Police Officer assigned to the SWAT team. I've been an officer for almost 36 years.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And on the SWAT team for about 27.
He's pretty much working for free now.
Jeez, I'm embarrassed to be in such high honor presence. Just so you know,
appreciate it.
I hold you guys. Do I not?
Oh, yeah.
I hold you guys in the utmost respect and embarrassment sometimes for me be in your presence. So I humbly thank you for being here.
I appreciate you guys having us.
For truth.
Yeah,
And the Shelby lady, you are
I am Barbara Aldradi.
okay. The mother.
I am the mother of Salvatore.
Okay.
Yes.
And his.
I am. That's what I
his
say.
spouse.
I'm supposed. Yes. We believe so. Yes.
After how long are you guys hanging out together?
We were just married 28 years.
Wow.
28 years. So he was already a cop almost 10 years when you ran into him.
Yeah.
Did you rescue her or something? Or did she rescue you? How did this work?
Yeah, she probably rescued me.
Probably rescued you. I'm getting that pressure. And you're
I'm a school teacher.
Okay. And in Philadelphia area or Jersey?
New Jersey.
Okay. Good. All right. So we got some real people here. We got some real red-blooded Americans that every day they go out and they do their best for their community and for themselves. I mean, let's be honest. We're all looking out for ourselves as well.
Right.
So they do the grind.
So just our listeners at home, Philadelphia SWAT, to be an officer there, you have to go through a lot of training. You're the top of the top. You're one of the best cops in the city. It's not easy to become a SWAT cop. And how much training did you have to go through?
We did. There's a lot of training.
Yeah.
Lot of
And you're
training.
constantly retraining, correct?
Retraining all the time.
Yeah.
And then you go away for training.
Yeah.
You come back.
Is there a lot of fun on those go-away trips?
You enjoy yourself.
Okay, you have a good time, but you learn a lot and you experience a lot of things.
And you bring it back. Yeah.
And you bring it back. Good.
Now, have you been involved in any shootings?
No.
No, that's great. That's
30-something
That's
years
something
and
you
no
strive
shootings.
to.
Right? Now, I was in East New York for 6 years of my 10 years that I lasted, and no shootings. Every day, my gun was out 15, 20 times. Every day.
Oh, you're robbing people. Of course your gun was out. Isn't that what you do?
I didn't need my gun. I just walked up.
Oh, yeah.
Those were the easy ones. You dirty bastard.
Now, my father was a cop. He's a uniformed police officer for 5 years. In fact, one of the first 18-year-old cops Philadelphia ever had. They did a special program. They had an academy class of 18-year-olds. That was my dad. Very proud of him. He stayed in uniform from 1960 to 65, then a detective for 25 years. Never fired his gun. I was in a shooting. I killed a 1990 Toyota Camry. Shot the shit out of it.
I shot a few stop signs. I'll be
shot
honest.
the shit out of that Camry.
Yeah.
And I was somewhat embarrassed about it. Here's my dad, went 30 years, never had to fire his gun. And I got into a shooting. And I'm not comparing myself to anybody. And it was just, no one got hurt, thank God. I'm so grateful I didn't actually shoot somebody. I wouldn't want to have to carry that with me. And I understand, what your son might be going through just a tad bit. I remember getting cleared and going back on the street, hearing a car backfire. I was just, for a couple day or two, it was kind of sketchy.
Sure.
It was a little weird. I'm like, damn, imagine people got in a real shooting. Like, I just shot a car up. And
No,
it's scary,
actually,
and I can understand, what your son was going through.
I actually,
what he is going
if
through.
people clap too loud and sharp, still today, and I wasn't in. I was around shootings, but not directly shooting anybody. And when I hear that, I'll go like this. I'll respond like, what's up?
I
Help!
think it's natural.
Yeah. So but it's from being around the police world. That's your first instinct is to look, duck, and get some kind of protection, right? Isn't that
You're
what-
always on.
You're always on.
You're
Always
always prepared
Yeah.
to do whatever you need to do at any moment because it's how you
And as being a teacher in some of these communities, you need to be.
Sure.
It's half of a joke, but it's really.
No, I think you're nuts. I wouldn't be teaching
But it's
any-
fucking real. I mean, being a teacher today.
Prison
I
guards
don't
and
know.
teachers.
I'd rather be a guy on SWAT because you know
Yeah.
what's going on. You know what you're going into usually. The teacher, she gets
Every day.
bombarded every day with something.
What
How many
grade?
people-
Second grade.
Ah,
No
that's not
monitors?
that bad.
I used to teach
No
kindergarten
ankle
for
monitors? No ankle monitors?
They're
thank
second
God where
grade. It
I
ain't
am,
that bad yet.
We're in a good area
Good.
So far.
so far.
Yeah.
All right, so let's dive into
Yeah.
this. So
Let's go.
let's start from the beginning. What year did this shooting take place?
It took place September of 2021.
Okay, 2021. So Salvatore's on duty. What was his role that night?
Just regular patrol. They were.
Midnight shift?
He was overnight.
12,
Yep,
midnight.
it was overnight.
Was that a steady shift? Was it a steady midnight shift or was
No,
it
he would
alternating?
rotate.
Okay, alternating.
So they rotate overnight shifts too?
Yeah, they work 12 hours. So
Okay.
it'd be 6A to 6P, 6P to 6A.
Okay, then it switched what, like every 2 weeks kind of a
Yeah,
thing?
something like that.
Okay.
Rotate out.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so he's uniform patrol, no special unit,
No.
and this is in Mantua Township?
Yeah,
Yes.
small
And what
community.
kind of community is Mantua?
It's a very small, family-oriented community. Was one of the reasons why we were glad that he was able to get in there because I didn't want him to become a Philly
Right.
cop
So you're
for
thinking,
the
Right.
dangers.
Yeah, right. 36
It's really
years,
tough.
no shootings. But
Right.
Imagine this. Go
yeah, well,
ahead.
that's just the thing. You never know when
You
and
never
where
know
this
where it's
will
going to
happen.
pop up.
He
100%.
actually, when he first got on, he was in Camden. He was in Camden. He did 2 years in Camden.
Okay.
Camden's a shell.
Which is a busy spot.
Very
Which is
dangerous.
a way to cut your teeth. Yeah. So he's been around
No offense to Camden.
action. No, he's always been in the
Yes.
activity.
Yeah.
Like
He's a seasoned veteran.
he's a hood. He's a hood. He's been in the hood. He knows how
Yeah.
people act. He can smell danger.
And
Yeah.
he's right. He's been in many situations where he's had to arrest people in Camden and Mantua that have had a weapon.
Yes. Yeah.
And never had a
So
pull
that-
his weapon or
That goes to speak to his tenure. 2 years in Camden is about what we'd say about 7-8 years in Mantua. You know,
Yeah.
experience wise.
Yeah, right,
You
of
do
course.
2 years in Camden, you know what the hell's going
you
on.
know, you know
where
the
you're
neighborhood.
at.
You know how to respond.
Yeah,
Yes.
one of the reasons why I
You
keep,
don't overreact.
you want to keep harping on this is because he's an experienced officer
Right.
that has been through shit
Because the-
and knows what's going
The
on.
first thing I say is, how long is he on the job? All right. How much experience has he had confronting people that are dangerous, whether with a weapon or physically dangerous or imposing their own will on you? So that's that's the first question that I wanted to know, and glad you asked that. So he's an experienced cop.
and he
Yeah.
did police explorers, Philadelphia Police
Oh.
Explorers for 4 years. So he was
course he
training
did.
before he was training,
Yeah.
you know.
Right. Okay.
For the listeners out there, Police Explorers is like the Cub Scouts, but for police officers.
Yeah.
And you can look into it, your local community. Philadelphia has it. It's a great program.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Sorry. So take us into that night. So he's patrolling. What happens?
Yeah, Drew.
So he's patrolling to get a radio call. Person's breaking into a shed and a car, and one may be armed with a gun.
Okay.
And he's the first officer on location is his corporal. He sees this guy, and he don't know who the guy is at the time. And he rolls down and says, "Yo, buddy, what's going on?" And the guy pulls a gun out, sticks it to the corporal's head.
Oh.
Why do? And here, this guy's. They find out is on 911, and the corporal tells him, "Drop the gun." You know, and to get out of harm's way, the corporal pulls off, speeds away. And my son Sal, he's behind him. He pulls up, he sees him, and we'll watch the body camera footage. But he has, he sees a guy extend his arm. At the time, it's low lights, 1:30 in the morning.
Right.
He can't tell. He thinks he's saying, "Yo, the guys who was trying to break in ran across the street over here." And so he's getting out of his car, just get back in his car and pull off. And the corporal stops, and he's like, "What's going on?" He goes, "Yo, the guy has a gun." He goes, "Who?" He has no idea who it is. He says, "Guy, he's standing right there, has a gun." And my son goes in between the cars.
Did the corporal tell me just pointed it at my head?
No, I
He
mean,
didn't have time. It
there-
was so
okay.
quick.
Boom, boom, boom. He's got a gun.
there's other radio chatter going on between police and police, and he's telling them what's going on. The guy has a gun, but he has no idea who he's talking about.
Right.
When he gets out of the car, he goes between the cars for coverage. You know, peeks around. The guy has a gun like this.
Right.
He illuminates him with his flashlight, recognizes it's a gun. The corporal tells the guy again, "Drop the gun."
I hear that on
You
the
can hear
tape.
that in the video.
Yeah.
The guy's refusing to drop the gun. My son engages him. I mean, you're talking milliseconds.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
I mean,
yeah.
it happens. Everything happens quick. The guy goes down to the ground, still pointing the gun at him.
You can hear him in the video again. So he stops reaching for the gun.
He illuminates again with the flashlight, sees the gun still pointing at him, engages the guy again. And the third time he illuminates him, he don't see a gun. As he's moving forward, the guy's aggressively on the ground reaching for the gun, and he tells him when it's on body camera, "Stop reaching, stop reaching." Tells the cops, "Back up, he has a gun." They're able to move in closer, effect the arrest, and then my son goes immediately into, you know, life-saving techniques, CPR, put the chest seals on the guy, the whole bit.
Right.
Guy's alive to the hospital, comes to his injuries later.
Okay. So good description. Because a lot of information comes in.
So let's play the video. So this is Sal's body camera.
That's his. He's like, "We're at."
Okay. Okay.
County shots fired.
Okay, you can stop the video.
Put your arms out.
We can play that again and walk through it.
Yeah, yeah. But so, knowing what you told me and that situation, I can see not much.
There's not
much to discern at this point. You see the man. There is a gun in his. I can't. I didn't see the gun just now because it was quick. But if you could see that, and your son had the flashlight out.
He did.
Yes. Which, by the way, I have to say, that's fucking incredible.
Yeah.
Because I would never have that flashlight. I would not have that flashlight out. So this kid is pretty sharp. I have,
Yeah.
'cause I would have been looking through the door. But if they got a gun or not, whatever. That's would have been me. So being honest,
Yeah. I would have been, hold on.
I
Look for my
yeah,
flashlight.
I would have been
in the
looking for
car.
the big black.
Fuck is that thing at?
The big black monster sitting there. But yeah, so
And don't forget, they were responding to a call with a man with a gun.
Right.
So, the heightened awareness of
course.
whoever's around, one of these people
you
may
come
have
out
a
of the
weapon.
car with your gun.
Let's be real. How many persons of gun calls do we go to? Cops do get complacent. A lot of them are bullshit.
Right.
Especially in an area, but it's kids. You're
Yeah,
not always showing up on the top tier, ready to go, flashlight
Yeah,
out.
right.
You're rolling up somewhere, and a lot of times you just think it's nonsense. There's not a second call.
Right.
Normally, when you start getting these parameters, there's second calls, there's witnesses.
Right.
Now you know, shit,
Now you know
this
it's
could be a
serious.
founded
It's
job.
real. Yeah, it's real. So, but when your son pulls out his gun, he's already heard from the other cop that there's a guy over there with a gun. Is that not correct?
Yes.
Correct.
So he's coming out
Knows it already.
ready to be protective and
Yep.
defensive all at the same time. So yeah, so I could see where, because I know for me, I'll tell you, well, just a quick segue, and this is how we do this. I'm in the car, and a guy's got a gun in front of me, and he's about to shoot someone in front of me, right? I'm like, are they fucking crazy? The police are here, all right? So now I'm in the patrol car with my partner. He's telling me, the guy from the 7-5 documentary, Kenny,
yeah.
he's telling me, don't look. Because he doesn't want to get involved. He wants them to shoot him and then it's us to leave. So we don't have to do any paperwork. Okay? So I'm like, how can I not look? It's right in front of the fucking patrol car. So I jump out of the car. I forget to put it in park.
I've done that.
Yeah.
With the gun in my fucking hand and the radio and
Get
this
caught
one.
up in the moment.
Now what do you do? Now what do you do?
Well,
so
that's-
my point
safe
is
space.
that's what really happens.
Yeah, it's the fog of war.
That's what
the
really
adrenaline.
happens. Your son gets out of the fucking car and he's got the flashlight on it, so he's not even half jacked. He's on point. He's got the
He's
flashlight out.
prepared.
He sees the guy and he's
So
goes-
just to show you, when he torches him, this is what he's looking at. He's looking at a gun pointing right at him.
yeah. Yeah.
And there's no mistaking. He knows it's a firearm.
Yeah.
Pointed
He illuminates it with
directly
the flashlight to make
at
sure.
Sal.
Yeah, that's
Pretty cut
he
and
had
dry.
the flashlight out, so it's not.
And
Not
he said
dark.
that. He said when he got out of the car, when he got out of the car, he said, right there, he looked, he saw the gun.
Yeah.
He made sure it was a gun. He had ducked back down, then he popped back up. And then the gun was
It's
pointed
as-
like this, and that's
yeah,
why
yeah,
he
As
engaged
illuminated
him.
as my phone is right now, you
Yeah.
can clearly see it's a phone.
Yeah.
Sal had that man illuminated and could see
Yeah.
that was a gun.
Yeah, and he was,
So
and he was
there's
probably
no-
about 16 feet, 18 feet per.
Yeah, they said between 20 and 30 feet.
Okay, okay.
Something like that.
Yeah,
you know.
but just the car length and in the middle of the car and where he's at, I don't know.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's behind. Usually, behind the door of your patrol car. Was he out from the?
So he's between the cars.
So he got out of his patrol car.
He came around, and there's another car there. He ducked around, and he came up.
Okay, yeah, because normally if I'm in a patrol car and I want cover, I use the door. I get out,
Right.
and that's what happened with me. And the door,
That
the door was
non-bulletproof,
fucking.
that non-bulletproof door.
Yeah, but
that
you
you're gonna
use,
duck
but you
behind.
use it anyway. You know,
Yes.
that's
Right.
that's what you do. Yeah. So here we are. You have this scenario, scene go down, and then your son goes to administer first aid,
Yeah.
and
The other
stress seals on.
officers, right,
Yeah, because they're still looking for bad guys, right?
Right.
They came out.
still an
Just
active scene.
stop. Where's the bad guys?
So that's the whole thing. So they didn't know. So as he's doing CPR and first aid
Right.
rendering, the other officers go to the house to try to secure the house.
Right.
As they go in the house, there's a 150-pound Rottweiler in there. So they say, okay, they check the house. The house is clear. They go to the car. The car wasn't even tampered with.
Nor was the shed.
in the shed.
Yeah.
Had
Still had a
Yeah.
lock on it.
padlock.
Now,
See, so when
now,
I
this is what people aren't thinking about.
Yeah.
What he just said
That's-
there. Where the bad guys at?
right,
So
that,
while all
that's
this
the
shit
first
is
thing I
going
said.
on, you still have to remember there's a radio call. There's other.
Still an active scene.
Yes, an
supposedly
active scene. There's could be other suspects armed. This is what the police officers are dealing with.
That's the,
Not a cut and
that's
dry
the first thing I said when I heard it, and I'm going to reiterate it right in front of you, motherfucker, because I said there's something wrong with this man, the way he's describing the scene, because he said, a white guy and a black guy, and
This is the 911 call that we listened to.
in my shed, in my truck. I think he's in my truck now, and I'm like, who the fuck talks
He
like
said he
this?
saw the gun illuminating in the moonlight.
Yeah. So we're laughing, right? Because
Right.
it is
I know.
funny, but if it's not you, okay? So you have to realize I knew nothing about this case before you came here today. On the way here, I studied what I needed to know to have this conversation. But it opened up so many questions initially that that's the point here. When you open up that many questions to a guy who's a little bit trained in the police world, you know something's wrong.
So-
right? Something is wrong.
I've said this to you before. You looked at me like I was fucking nuts. Video lies 100% of the time. Because Mike said to me, I looked at video. I said, well, you don't know the context.
Right.
Then when you put everything together, you're like, oh shit, it's
Yeah.
pretty cut and dry.
Right.
Pretty cut and dry.
Correct.
When you
yeah.
know the context to a video, you know the truth of what's really happened.
Yeah. So
This is really, and in a police world, an investigation, a shooting like this was already cleared by an attorney general. This is a cut and dry case, and it should be over with.
Well, and not only that, so police shootings, when you would have a police shooting, normally would go through your prosecutor's office.
listen to this teacher.
listen-
This teacher knows about the process. The
I'm
police.
sure she
I've
does
learned
now.
so much,
Okay.
Sure.
and I do
Okay.
my research.
I mean, this.
you know?
Yeah.
Don't mess with Mother
So-
Bear.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mama Bear's coming out.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Good.
But anyway, you're supposed to go. So it used to be the prosecutor's office. So Gloucester County was where Mantua was. That's who used to investigate and say whether it was a clean shoot, not a clean
Okay.
shoot, suspension, clear to go back to street.
Right.
Now the attorney generals, for the being transparent, hired their own entity to do any police shooting investigation, which is the New Jersey State Police Shooting Response Team. So they had their own people come out, investigate the shooting, which they deemed, listen, is it a perfect shoot? Someone lost their life. So
Right.
it's
No
terrible,
question, yes.
right? But police work, this is police work, right? It's not, you're not the Walmart, I know, I'm sorry. It's the Italian in me, right? You're not the
I
Walmart.
had the same
We will
problem.
do it.
I'll keep them dead here. You're not a Walmart door greeter. Hi, how are you? You know, so,
Right.
things happen on a split second. You have to make decisions, and things escalate very quickly. So they had their own people they hired to come out to investigate
The initial
the
investigation.
initial investigation. And once they did the investigation, and then also heard from the family, the shooting alone was deemed justified.
Right. So stop. You just alluded to something
Right.
here that I wanted to get into, which is really what I think this shooting is about. They interviewed his family.
Yes.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about that so that we can show a different light here.
Well, there is a civil lawsuit, so there's not.
Shocker.
As much as I would love to spill the beans, what I can say is the family and the ex-wife are very well aware of past mental health issues.
Okay.
And
All right, so I can say, it, right?
abuse.
So this man has a drug and alcohol problem. He's been in and out of rehab, I believe,
Okay.
and he's been suicidal. That's been on the record. There's been suicidal attempts. I
we believe the house was flagged for prior
Okay.
police activity.
911 dispatch. Did they notify the cops that this was a flag? Because I know our 911. We'll have notes that possibly someone there has HIV. It's a bleeder, or mental health issues. We do get those red flags before answering the calls.
So when I was listening to the tape on the way in here with Tara, my fiance, she said, if there's been prior suicide attempts at that location, the dispatcher should allow the police officers to be aware of that. And they flagged the address with that potential.
We believed it was flagged. We believe
Right.
it is.
So
we strongly believe it was flagged for prior police
So
activity.
you strongly
yes.
believe that. And why would you say that? So that I know, or so that the audience knows. Why would you? I mean, you can't.
All I can say is we have 6 one of those drives called
Flash drive.
flash drives at home with a ton of factual
Discovery.
discovery,
Discovery.
information
Okay.
on there.
Okay, so basically, discovery has been buried.
Yeah, a lot of it.
Yeah.
A lot of it.
Okay.
So, and a lot of people don't understand 911 is a separate entity to police officers. They're not combined. It's not mutual.
Right.
So if there was a slight error from the 911, they might have a legitimate gripe with the 911 dispatch system. Not with Officer.
Aldradi.
That's right.
And their
Right.
cars were not adapt with mobile.
MDTs.
Yeah.
They don't have
data
MDTs.
terminals.
Are you
They
serious?
have
It's
MDTs.
2021 and they don't have MDTs
So
in their
they're
car?
switching over
Holy
to a new
shit!
system. Even their body camera, they just switched over to a new body camera. So there's a buffer in there.
Yeah.
So I don't know what an MDT is.
So it's a mobile data terminal. It's a little laptop. I thought every police department by this point in time would have one of them.
Yeah, they didn't have them, and the body camera they had, they just switched over to new ones. So when the guy points the
One-
gun
yeah.
to the corporal's head, he's trying to turn it on, but when he sees a gun in his face,
Yeah.
Yeah,
you
trying
know,
to protect myself.
he wants to get out of harm's way
Yeah.
because he couldn't get his gun
He's
out.
not in a position.
Right.
Right.
So and he just hit the gas, and he tells the guy, and you hear on 911, put the gun down, and he drives off.
Right.
And you hear a car speeding off.
Right.
So with
So-
all this information, with the context of the video, how does this Attorney General come to the conclusion that we have to indict Salvatore?
That's what we would like to know.
That's
So no, there's no
that's
answer
$1
to
million
it.
question.
No, because once they did the investigation just based on Salvatore's how he behaved that day and how he reacted, when you have a gun pointed in front of you, as a police officer, you do not have to retreat. You do not have to give commands. The use of force policy says if feasible.
Right.
If it's not feasible, you don't have to do that. So he didn't violate any
No, when
New
you
Jersey use of force policy.
right.
you're lighting
No,
up a suspect and there's a
Mantua.
gun pointing right back
You don't
at
have to-
you,
you don't have
you
to
have
say
the right
anything.
to return fire
course.
immediately.
Right.
As he just also pointed the gun at another officer.
Yeah, to his head.
Right, to his head. So once they did the investigation, he was cleared to go back to work by a representative from the Attorney General's office. She was with the prosecutor's office and I believe an assistant attorney general.
She's like the liaison.
Yeah, the liaison. And she brought them in. She sat down with his whole department because the captain can't just clear him and put him back to work. He doesn't have the information that the detectives and the state police have. He didn't have that report. So he couldn't just put him back to work by himself. And the policy states that him, along with prosecutor's office and attorney general's office, would make the determination. And they sat down with that representative and she basically said, there's nothing criminal here, but it does have to go through because with the whole George Floyd and all that,
Yeah,
Defund the police.
defund the police, they enacted a new law that every police shooting for transparency has to go in front of a grand jury. However, it's a low level to indict. So you're telling me that your own, entity,
Your own investigator.
right, your own investigators, your state police team who you hired to do this for transparency doesn't see anything wrong with it. But then a new attorney general comes in and now we see something wrong with it. That 23, I understand people of your peers. They're not of your peers. I'm a teacher. He's a police officer.
Right.
I know we're a police family.
Right.
We know the line of work.
Right.
But you can't come into my classroom and me hand you. You wouldn't know what to do.
Right.
Same thing.
Right.
So these are not 23 people who know
Yes.
Now,
police work. And it was manipulated.
So this was brought in front of a grand
It
jury,
was brought in
correct?
front of a grand jury
Right, yeah.
2
I mean,
years,
you
it
have to
was
remember-
20 months after he was cleared back
After
to
he was
work.
cleared, back to work already, a grand jury convenes, and we all know
The grand
people-
jury is a rubber stamp for the government.
exactly.
You know,
Grand jury can
it's a
go
low
any way
level.
you want it to. So
Yeah.
just so the people at home know, when you have a grand jury, it's the prosecutor puts their case on. There is no defense.
There's
No
no
There's
cross-examination.
nothing else that goes on.
Right.
It's just everything the prosecutor shows, and it could be not the truth sometimes, not the truth. And, he can bend
And they
and-
can choose what to show.
Yeah,
Right, they don't have any exculpatory evidence. They don't
Yeah,
have to show.
they don't have to show.
prosecutors have a lot of leeway with grand jury, so it's pretty easy to get one to convict.
And
Like
what
the
is
saying is, you could
indict a ham sandwich?
Yeah, which
Right.
which leads to it's not a conviction to find people guilty. It just leads to saying that now you can indict, charge them with whatever crime was brought in front of a grand jury. Then they move forward in the legal process.
Yeah, if your evidence was so solid, you wouldn't need a grand jury.
No,
If
exactly.
you really thought there was something there, you don't need that.
And that's another
know,
good point.
right.
You don't need a grand jury when you have
And
something that's cut and dry.
The New Jersey Attorney General's office has the right, if they come back with a bill, they can say, well, there really isn't enough evidence here, and or they don't have to put
they
it
have
in
the final say.
They have
Even
the
if you get
final
it,
say.
even if you get indicted by a
Right.
grand jury,
Mm-hmm.
they have a policy saying, "Listen, if there's no probable cause, we're not going to move forward with this."
Right.
And even they charge him with reckless manslaughter, and that don't even fit.
Right.
There's nothing right. It's not
What's
like
reckless?
It's not like
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's
So they
deadly
hit him with a
force
car
or deadly
drunk.
force.
I mean, what the hell's that?
Exactly.
What does that have to do with
So
anything?
it's not like grandma was looking down out the window down the street and she got shot.
Right. No,
You
yeah.
know,
Yeah.
it doesn't even
But
fit.
well,
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
what they do. They try, the police officers. They put out all these articles. Oh, he just pulled up and shot him.
Right.
Not true.
Oh, yeah,
but
yeah.
they try it in the public's eye because it pulls on people's heartstrings.
Right.
Listen,
Of
somebody
course.
lost their
So-
life. It's terrible.
So I'm going to stop you for a second. And that's how I saw this initially.
You did.
I said, I'm really not too happy with this because I want to be pro-police because we're pro-police in this show. And he got a little, I go, oh, look, I'm just looking at what.
Playing the devil's advocate,
Yeah,
right?
both. And I'm listening to some of the information and I'm uncomfortable. And then when I got all the information, I was like, okay, now so to the point, grand juries, if you just played what I read,
Again, video
Bye-bye.
100% of the time.
bye-bye. But if you have the evidence,
Right.
And
all
the
of it,
context.
you go,
And this is why we've started reaching out to. We did another podcast, and we're reaching out to like
The
Senator-
anti-hero.
Yeah,
Great people.
great
Great show.
people. They were the only ones that I mean, we have. So let me back up. So back in March, we got some information that there's a department within the New Jersey Attorney General's office that's called the OPIA, the Office of Public Integrity and Accountability,
Okay.
which are put in charge of going after corruption or these cases. Basically, they're going after the police officers. So the head, Tom Eicher, happens to step down. I keep using my air quotes.
Yeah.
Step down. But now all these articles are coming out with corruption of their own. Okay, how they're doing these
Shocker.
frivolous indictments,
Frivolous
prosecutorial
indictments.
misconduct, withholding exculpatory
Now,
evidence.
is this coming back to Plankton, whatever the hell his name is?
Correct. This is all in the same office. The Tom
So
Eicher
his
was the
tentacles
head.
are reaching with corruption.
We believe so.
I'm not shocked.
Within that unit.
So
That ilk.
that piece of
Now, there's all different units within the AG's office.
Yeah.
Yes.
This particular unit, you have to remember, a lot of people in this unit were public defenders are now prosecutors.
yes, yeah.
Who hate cops.
Who hate the
Cops
cops.
have-
So to the public defenders who's been against
Cops
pretty
have
much
been
against
cleaning the
police.
clocks of public defenders for years.
Now they become the prosecutor, right? And so they have a favorable bent already to exculpating the defendants, mitigating their charges. So in most police worlds, you charge the top charge, right? They're probably charging the bottom, except when it comes to his son. They probably charge the bottom charge if there is a bottom charge. I mean,
Just to get it to stick.
reckless manslaughter is a big difference than involuntary, right? Wouldn't that be?
Yeah.
Like I just was doing my job, and the guy had
So the reckless would be
conscious disregard
yes.
for another person's
an
life.
accidental death. Like you said, if I got into a shooting and I killed someone down the block by accident.
Yeah.
I mean, or if I'm drunk and I'm driving, I accidentally killed somebody. That's manslaughter.
Right.
Man one is when you had the intention, I'm going to go kill someone. Like I brought a gun here today and I'm going to kill Mike.
Right.
That's man one. I intentionally premeditated.
right, and that's why we started. I call it the movement, because once all that corruption started coming out, and I'm like, this is what they're doing. And there's even a senator in New Jersey, Joe Cryan, who has a bill. He wants them investigated, the OPIA, because of all
Also
the
lose their immunity.
right.
I hate to say this, but it sounds like the NYPD scandal
Yeah.
all
Well,
over
this
again.
This is the problem with these attorney generals. They have qualified immunity also.
Yeah.
Well,
Nothing
that's
can happen
right.
to this
More
piece
so
of
than
shit.
police.
Yep. No, more so than police. Absolutely.
And listen, let's face it, if he did anything wrong, my son, he wouldn't have been put back on the streets.
No.
Yeah, not for
And it
2
was,
years.
again, it wasn't his own team investigating. This was the Attorney
So-
General's team investigating him.
Now, this also opens up a whole can of worms. How many arrests has he made since that shooting?
Who, the Attorney General?
No, Salvatore.
Sal.
I don't know, because when he went back, he worked and he became police officer of the year for a second time.
Oh, he
was
definitely made some
police-
arrests.
and
And
then
he's
he
police officer of the
became
year.
corporal. Yeah.
So what I'm saying now
And
is
then
all those arrests are in jeopardy of being overturned.
Correct.
Because of this, because of this bullshit. Absolutely. If I'm a lawyer for one of these defendants who were arrested after this incident, I'm bringing this. I'm going back. I'm getting, this guy's.
Yeah, he's no
this
good.
guy's corrupt.
He's no good.
He shot and killed. So he's going to jail.
Yeah.
How could you?
He's
say-
a murderer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the implications for this, it's just not that cut and dry. People don't realize how dangerous this game is.
Right.
Right?
And like you said, once the actual shooting of him was cleared, then there's all the other stuff that comes out in terms of, the drug report, the medical examination, the toxicology report, the family's report. So this
So was there a lot of drugs in his system
Yeah.
at time of death?
Cocaine,
was.
methamphetamines, some other drugs.
Yeah.
I mean, high levels.
So it's
He
suicide
wasn't
by
just doing a bump.
suicide by cop,
No. And
possibly.
he started earlier in the evening with, he was throwing off quarter sticks. He went over
Wow.
to the neighbor. He showed the neighbor the gun. The neighbor got scared because he's like, let the cops handle it. He was very irrational. He was acting irrational all evening, which then ties into if
You
do play the
hallucinate when you're
911 call.
when you're that far into that drug use. You do have hallucinations. Now, hearing this, it might not just be mental health. With the drug use, he might have actually seen people breaking into the car. You do hallucinate during these psychotic episodes of these drug uses, especially a lot of cocaine, meth,
He was a veteran,
PTSD.
PTSD.
Okay, so
He
you're
was
painting a
probably
picture.
taking some kind of
SSR, something.
when people get anxiety or suffer from PTSD, they're on some kind of calming
They
medication.
did find prescription
Yeah, there you
drugs
go.
in the system as
It's a
well.
whole cocktail
Valium
for
or
a
something
mess.
like that, maybe it was.
Some kind of pan, like something that lowers your intensity levels
Yeah.
and stuff.
And how
like
about
that.
alcohol? Alcohol was found in that too.
Yeah, matter of fact, in his truck, he can't drive his vehicle unless he blows into it because he was arrested so many
He was
times for
arrested.
DUI.
This guy's banged up. He's banged. And
And it's a
tragically,
shame.
tragically,
It's hard.
Yeah, I mean, we're not here
I-
to talk bad.
No, and I feel for the family
deceased,
because
but
the family's been
it is what
dealing
it is.
with, him for all these years, and his ex-wife had been dealing with him for all these years. But now you're messing with my son.
Yeah.
You're messing with our son, and
Well,
this,
because your son's expendable, man.
right. And here's the thing too, like the average person wants to give their opinion on what he did or didn't do. We're not talking about opinions. We're talking about facts, policies.
Right.
We're talking about he followed everything he needed to do that he did as a police officer. We're not asking, well, I like him or I don't. We're not talking about that. We're talking about if you follow everything that he did it right by the book. He did everything he was supposed to do in his training.
He had the
That
flashlight
was
out.
within his realm. So this isn't about, my opinion is
Yeah.
he did this and he did that. He's been on many cases where he's had people, had guns.
I
But
would
he
have
didn't
found
take
my
the gun out and
flashlight.
stick
When
it,
this kid
yeah.
was prepared.
He was prepared.
He was prepared.
Right.
I would have found my flashlight in that time when they know someone's got a gun. I'm just coming out with the gun
The
going.
problem is, like you said, we have these DAs, attorney generals, and they're all George Soros backed, and people don't like to hear that, but do your research. It's the truth, and they're put in to be
This
progressive.
DA's like a quiff.
They're put in,
He's a quiff.
and these are not officers these aren't police abuse cases. I mean, listen, does that happen? Sure.
Yes,
Is there
yes.
corruption? Sure, but that's not these cases. He also indicted a group of, there was 8 of them, prison guards and officers for an incident. And again, I can't speak. I don't know
No,
this
this
well,
is important
but
to go
this
to show
was
what he's
another
doing
thing where this man was resisting arrest, needed medical attention
in prison.
in prison. He was very combative. They got him, what they had to do to get him
Everything's
under
on
arrest.
film today.
And then he passed away, but he died of, drug overdose. So
Delirium.
now, wait, 4 years after they were back to work, the month before my son was indicted in April 2023, they indicted all 8 of them. All 8 of them. Now, all these guys are all out of work.
Their whole life is turned upside down.
There's no
A
pay,
life was
there's no
lost, so
funding.
that's important.
It is,
Let's not,
absolutely.
even if he was a
Absolutely.
scumbag, he's still a human being.
Absolutely.
I mean, people cry over dogs getting hit, and hurt.
This
so
is a part of police work.
Right.
Nobody wakes up that day and says, I hope
today's one
I
of
kill
those days.
somebody
I'm getting
today.
a
Yeah.
body.
Police work can change. and it
36
can
years,
escalate.
38 years?
There-
36.
Yeah.
No bodies.
No,
What the hell's going on here? Are you a house mouse? Are you a house mouse?
You're held to a higher discipline.
Not
There's
SWAT.
people in the SWAT unit that have, least their weapons, or so to speak, you
yeah,
know.
Yeah.
But it's not a, like I said, it's not a clean cut career where you go in. Things escalate quickly. You have to be prepared. And not every police shooting or a death in police custody is criminal. It could be just a part of
Listen,
the job.
shit happens.
The majority of them.
Here's one of the things that I always said. If you're a police officer, you're going to make a mistake every day, many times a day. Because why? Because you're human. You're not a robot. You're going to respond like a human being to incidents. Your training allows you to survive it and hopefully prevent anybody else from getting injured.
Correct.
However, that's where it ends. After that, it's all what's your input as far as the defendant or the complainant? What did they do? So if you're in a physical confrontation with the police, it's never gonna be pretty. Excuse me, sir. Turn around. Put your hands behind your back. You're under arrest for
Just
rape.
comply, right?
Yeah.
Just
Oh,
comply.
especially when
Most
you're
men or women don't. Women even are fucking. They're fucking worse.
They're the worst.
They're worse. I almost killed one because she wouldn't stop. I didn't know what to do. Anyway, it was. I was at work.
okay.
She was on the hood of a car, fully dressed.
Enough.
Fully dressed, but
Stop it there.
she actually this female. This is crazy. We're in front of the precinct 7-5. I'm brand new at the 7-5, and I see this female police officer driving her car home. Hits the stop sign, and this woman from the neighborhood. They get into it because she wants to go and the girl wants to walk. So like it was like one of those, you know, do I go? Do I not go? They get into words in front of the precinct. The girl reaches in the car and grabs the female officer by the hair and starts pulling her through the fucking window right in front of me. I'm like, I don't even know this female. I just got here. Now I'm like, I know she's a cop. I know this girl's beating her up, pulling her through the window of her car. So I come over to help her and I grab the woman and I hate to say this, but I choked her. That could be something else. And she wouldn't stop. She would not stop. I was choking her so hard that her neck was almost about that round, and she wouldn't stop. And guess what she was? Pregnant.
Oh,
Was she on drugs? Because sometimes they get that stupid strength.
I don't know. I just let go and left. We got her off the car. You know, okay, have a good day. But the strength that she had, oh my word.
That's another thing. People don't understand how hard it is to handcuff somebody.
Hey.
Yeah, unless you do it. You can have a 13-year-old scrawny little kid here. It's going to take all 3 or 4 of us to get that kid handcuffed. If they don't want to get handcuffed and they have a little bit of adrenaline surging through them.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
it's
how
just
many people wake up and say, you know, they can go out and protect
no,
the
it takes,
public?
Yeah.
Look how many officers don't come home at night.
Yeah.
Because maybe they didn't react quick enough, or when they were pulling up to the job, like you said, they become complacent.
Well, that's what happened
and
with
don't
Tommy.
Think.
Right? Didn't Tommy say that? Tommy Morrow? Tommy Morrow said that I waited a second or two because I didn't want to be on the front page of a fucking newspaper for doing the wrong thing. Meanwhile, he gets shot.
He got shot.
Here, and he's dead.
Yeah, he got shot because he didn't want to.
Hesitation kills.
Yep.
Yes. You know, I hate to say I'd rather be tried by 12 than carried by 6, right? Isn't that the saying?
That's it.
I'd like to thank our sponsors today, Martina White. Friends of Martina White can visit votemartina.com for more information about the work Martina's been doing as a state representative in Pennsylvania. And let me tell you, Mike, she's a big supporter of police. She backs the blue. She's a proven fighter for families, women, everybody.
Is she a patriot? Is she America first?
Absolutely. She encompasses, the American spirit for sure. We have a big population of listeners in Northeast Philadelphia, Southeast Pennsylvania, which would be her area. So you can check her out.
Has
Vote
she
Martina.
been I'm not familiar with the Philly district. Is she new to the scene, or is she, looking for re-election?
She'll be up for re-election in a couple years, but she's been around for a while. She has a proven track record.
Okay.
You can check her out. Her record really speaks for itself, especially when it comes to fighting for everyday citizens and backing the blue.
It's nice to have someone back in the blue. I mean, the officers are out there risking their lives every day, and with little pay and little appreciation in today's environment, it's been very difficult. And as you know, being a Philadelphia guy,
Unfortunately, that's something that's not common. Should be. It used to be a time where both sides of the aisle agreed on law enforcement, and that's something that's completely lacking. But with Martina White, she steps up to the plate, always has our backs, and does what's right.
great. Good luck with Martina.
Yeah, you can get more information at votemartina.com. I'd like to thank our title sponsor of the show, Adams Renzi Law, AR Law. They can be found at arjusticenow.com. And just to let you know, I know both of them personally. Christy, one of the nicest people you'll ever meet, total sweetheart, absolute pit bull in the courtroom. And Nick Renzi, he's a South Philadelphia guy, true and true, neighborhood man. You know, he's for the people. He helps people out down in South Philly, all around Philadelphia.
Their office is in South Philly itself?
Yes, their office is in right around South Philly, Center City, right on the
Do
border.
they handle
there.
a lot of criminal cases?
They handle everything, absolutely.
Are they on call 24/7 for someone who
always-
might take a pinch somewhere?
Why, you might be taking
Well,
a
I
pinch
mean,
that we know about?
you never know. I mean, wherever you show up, you got to be ready.
Well, you can keep their card on you.
Well,
Or go to their
well,
website and
good,
call
good.
them up.
Will they give me a deal since they're sponsors of the show?
You might get a percentage off. I'll have to talk to her.
Okay. Yeah.
If you used them a few years ago, you might have not have gotten 14 years.
Well, that's another story.
Another story for another time.
That's right.
Again, AR Law, check them out. arjusticenow.com. We would also like to thank our sponsor, Beyond.0. In today's world, your business is practically invisible if you're not online. With so many options for marketing your business, it's easy to get confused. That's where Beyond.0 Creative steps in. They have the expertise to help you with all of your marketing needs. Need a website that wows visitors? They'll build it. Want to reach more customers with Google Ads? They'll make it happen. They'll even manage your social media so you can focus on what you do best. Beyond.0 Creative is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau and Google Premier Partner. They're the real deal. If you're ready to take your online presence to the next level, visit beyondocreative.com. That's BIONDOCREATIVE.com or call 267-362-WEB1, Web 1 to discuss your project now. I'd like to thank our sponsor, Morrow Flooring, hardwood, laminate, vinyl, tile, and carpet, military first responder discount. You know, Tommy, we had him as a guest on a podcast. You can get your flooring done by a real American hero.
Yeah, and he's on time and on budget.
Yes, he is. He will beat any price. Bring a quote, an estimate, whatever you have. Tommy will beat it. 100% guaranteed. You have our backing on that one.
And he'll be there himself.
Absolutely. You can get a real American hero do your flooring for you.
So I got to ask you, Drew, just a segue for a minute. How do you do police work now, knowing that this has happened to your son? And you know, and listen, you've been on the job a long time. Yeah. Are you pausing now? Okay.
Still, you know,
bring him.
My goal is to go home at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
Right.
and same thing with the people we work with.
Okay.
And that's what we do.
Are you still on the street?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
We have a lot of police family too.
Still
So
doing jobs.
you know, we had my brother was a marshal. We have a lot of police. We're a big police family.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So we all support each other, and
That's a tradition of America.
Yeah. I mean,
and we're all looking at this kind of just perplexed, like, why are we here? Not just us, but
Bizarro world.
the whole situation that we've created that put these officers on the front
So,
lines,
Just to give you an
bounty
example,
on their head.
as you said, you know, how many have not come home? 36 years on. When did you get on?
I got on in March of '89.
God damn. You are a dinosaur. Shit. You had a fucking...
he's a kid. He's a kid.
a revolver. A little 6-shooter on your hip, huh?
Yes, you
Holy
did.
shit.
Yeah.
38.
Oh, I love
You're-
that.
you're
I
on
love
my-
that. You still have it? Oh no.
I wish I.
Oh, I
Yeah.
love that
most
gun.
accurate, one of the most accurate guns.
I
ever.
love that gun.
My dad was still on a job when you got on. Holy shit.
Yeah, I wasn't away yet.
So I said my dad was still on a job, but you were
I
too.
thought you said my dad was still
Yeah.
on the job. I was still.
Yeah, you weren't locked up yet.
No,
Amazingly.
it was '89. It was in rehab. Yeah. No.
So how many cops have been killed just in Philadelphia
Oh,
alone?
man. I mean, you
Right
look,
in
you
line
go
of
to the
duty.
FOP, you look at that wall.
Yeah, there's a lot.
We just
Sad.
had Corporal
It's sad.
O'Connor, Jimmy
Yeah.
O'Connor
Yep.
was killed right when we had COVID.
Yep.
And
Yeah,
that was
before that.
His wife's fantastic. She
Terry.
became an advocate. She'll be on the show
she's good
eventually.
friends. Yeah, she's
Terry's
good friends with
fantastic.
Terry.
Unfortunately, she had to step up, just like yourselves.
Did you work with Drew at all? Or you just knew each other?
No. I'm sure we've been on the job together.
Probably.
Yeah, 12 years on
Yeah.
in the 24th and East, and where
Okay.
were you during '99 to
I was in
2011?
SWAT.
Yeah. Okay. So they probably.
So he would show up at a scene if you had something
yeah,
going on.
yeah.
Yeah.
We're not
Okay.
usually bullshitting when SWAT comes.
Yeah,
out.
no, SWAT.
We're busy.
Yes, yeah. And SWAT really doesn't talk to you guys.
No.
Anyway. Come on.
They
look
don't
at
have time
me.
for us.
Come on.
The Baylands or
Come
something.
on.
They have time for us.
Oh, in the
dude.
Badlands? Is that what they call it? The
Yeah,
Badlands?
up in
Yeah.
East, yeah.
Yeah, East Division, man.
Oh, you'll talk to those guys? Okay.
Oh,
Dude,
we're friendly with all them people.
All right.
I
all
worked
right.
in one of the busiest areas in the entire country.
Yeah, yeah.
Peace sector in the 24th.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Me in
not-
Indiana was
it's
the
not
number
like
one heroin corner.
It's not like the 7-5.
Yeah, yeah.
although Troutman and Knickerbocker, which is in Bushwick, is probably was the busiest corner in the fucking city. It was
Wow.
insane. I'll tell you a story. Ready? You want to hear a good one?
Sure.
So I'm in the 9-4. I'm not allowed anywhere. Okay, they're monitoring me like I'm in prison in the police department, and I get assigned. So it's the holiday season, and they have what they call holiday overtime foot posts. You guys may have heard of them. You know,
What year is this?
this is 91. Yeah, 91. Yeah.
On the verge of getting
Some
pinched.
got to get pinched. And so I'm on Troutman between Knickerbocker and Nick and Irving, I think. Yeah, I don't know the area well because it's not my precinct. So at the time, I went from the 7-5 to rehab to the 9-4. So I'm in the 9-4 to
What's the ninth floor?
9-4. The
9-4, okay. So I can't tell with that stupid New York accent.
9-4. So it's a quiet spot. You know, there's supposed to be no trouble there. But anyway, so I find it all, or it finds me. So then I get sent to Bushwick for an overtime post, which is a nice day of pay. You know, it's the holiday season. You didn't get overtime the whole day. So you get 8.5 hours overtime. It's about $300-400 back then, which is nice cash, you know. And I'm on the straight and narrow, you know, and so the whole bit. So I'm in the bodega having a couple of Remy. You know, the Remy.
Yeah, the shots.
The shots of Remy. We're doing shots of Remy. But I don't know the bodega owner, but we're doing shots together in the back, right? And so the post is secured because I'm there. And I hear shots fired, Troutman and Nick. I'm like, oh, fuck, that's my post, right? I'm not going out there now. It's cold. It's dangerous. So I'm looking out the window. I'm looking out the window of the bodega, and there goes 2 PF flyers running right by me. I'm like, I wonder. Maybe I should take a look out there. I go outside, and now I'm not a response team. I'm a guy on the foot post. So I'm really not rushing to the job, right? Because I'm waiting for patrol to get there. So we got some machinery to fucking work with, right? Multiple calls. So you know
So
it's
yes,
so you know it's
real.
good. So you know it's good. So I step up my pace a little bit. I get inside. I'm looking around. There's a guy dead on the floor. Like, there's got to be something. There's got to be something here. So out of the back room comes a woman, a Hispanic woman, and she's stuffing money in her fucking bra. Okay, I'm like, what the fuck? What do you do with my money? Like, I'm pissed. She got my money. So she leaves. I go, get out of here. She's like mad now because I'm chasing her out of the spot. Get out. There's no cops there but me. I'm the only one fucking there. I mean, I just walk like half a block in New York City. It's about fucking 3-minute walk, right? In the 7-5, there's 9 cars there by the time. The 8-3 must have been busy. Anyway, so I go in the back and there's a statue of Mother Mary there. Around the bottom of the statue is all singles. No one singles.
No one's gonna miss singles.
No, I don't want this too bulky. So I find a couple $100 bills, $700, $800. I put it in my pocket. Because Mary's got all the singles. He's dead.
So you left Mary with
So
some
I
money?
left Mary. I didn't touch Mary's money, and they had candles there.
Yeah, you need to.
The candles were
Can't
going.
mess with Mary.
Candles were going. The kids on the floor dead. 800. So now I made 300 in overtime and 800. But no one.
And then what? You're
So what? So tell me the crime.
which one? Yours?
I don't even
Yours
know
or the others?
Well, which is the crime?
the story went.
Unbelievable.
Someone's drug money is now being appropriated.
So I'm sure this has happened to you. I got a radio call one time. Shots fired. There's only one, so we thought it was bullshit.
Right.
So we don't respond. And
We don't respond even. Oh, how is
Well,
this? Kensington, you
others-
guys are real gangsters.
Yeah,
out
it's
there.
bullshit.
Ah, fuck it.
so another
None
car
of you would
picked it up.
last with my son. He doesn't do that. My son goes to
No,
work.
he's down there. He's on the way.
Other
And
cars
comes home
picked.
broke.
My defense, other cars picked it up. We thought it was bullshit. And he comes over the radio like, I need a supervisor. And, supervisor I was sitting next to because we're eating lunch. He goes, what's up? He goes, I got a lot of bodies and a lot of cash. And we're like, all right, we'll be over there. And man, it was like out of a movie. They all killed each other. There's 4 bodies.
Oh, nice.
2 by the front door laying on each other.
Can you get
2
over
by
them?
the kitchen
Can't
laying on
get
each other.
over them.
Kilos. You would have loved it.
Oh, yeah,
Kilos
oh,
everywhere.
fuck yeah.
I got 250,000 on the table.
And who counted that money?
Yeah, it all went right into where it should. The locker room.
Who counted that
That's
money?
why this is called good cop, bad cop, not bad cop, bad cop. All that money went where it's supposed to.
Let's be honest with each other here on the show. Isn't it hard to turn down that kind of cash if it's in front of you? Be honest.
No.
Very easy.
Damn it, man. Why is that me? Why do I feel that way?
Very easy.
No.
That's
I
it.
raised
Yeah, it didn't cross my
voice
mind.
the
I
right
want my
way.
kids to read my name in the
Yeah.
paper.
That
shit.
never crossed my mind.
Why do I have to still struggle with that?
Now, listen, I always had a limit. Like, if there's like $2 million and no one around,
Okay, so you did have
maybe.
a number. You had a number.
maybe.
You had a, because in the
2
academy,
million's a lot of money.
Mary's watching.
In the
You had-
academy,
you had to be-
Well, you're not talking about Mary. Mary's
Yeah,
there.
Mary's
Different
watching.
in the
story.
academy, they would say to us, make sure the number's a good number because it's going to cost you your career one way or the other.
This is what
worth it. You gotta
we're
do the
told in the
right thing.
academy. Look around. 3 or 4 years won't be there by this year. 3 or 4 years
Absolutely.
won't be there. 3 or
1
4
in
years
5.
will die. 1 or 2 of you will be killed in line of duty, and 1 or 2 of you are going to be locked up. And
Yeah.
I'll be damned if those numbers weren't correct.
And you know what I
right?
said? None of them will be me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Said the same thing.
That's what you
I got out injured.
Yeah.
You got arrested.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
And he's still hanging on.
And he's still working.
Yeah. You're still 36
Yeah.
years.
So there's 2 other guys that are jammed up.
still carrying a 6-shooter?
One's his son right now. Really, the numbers are not good.
So
They're
it's-
really not.
Can we put Sal's picture
And
up?
we still do it.
Yep.
And that's what he said. He said,
I don't know how
this
you
is
do it.
all he wanted to do ever since he was young was
Here
to
we
be a
go.
police officer. And
Oh,
he
handsome
worked-
kid, too.
This is
he
Salvatore.
worked so hard.
Kid, I
uh,
shouldn't say kid. He's a
and
man,
his
obviously.
reputation, he worked so hard to get where he is. And now, you know,
How,
we
how
do
old
have
was he in this picture?
oh my gosh, he had to be maybe 21, 22, about 22.
He's about 26 now.
He's 20, he's 27 now.
Okay. So what's
Does he-
Salvatore doing
Does he
now?
have family kids?
Nothing,
Nothing.
because he does. He
has
recently
this,
got married, has a new
He has this
baby.
frivolous charge against him for manslaughter, reckless manslaughter. So
Is he working?
No,
Can't work, no.
PTSD.
Well, I'll talk to you after this.
Yeah. We
Wait
do
a minute.
have
Wait, so I thought he was still attached to the police department.
he's on administrative suspension,
they stopped
so he
his
doesn't get
ben-
So he
paid.
get paid.
But he still
Stopped his benefits.
stopped his benefits too.
So the official date of that was
May 23rd, 2023, the day he got indicted.
May 23rd.
So
That was 20 months after he
20
went back
months
to
in.
work.
Okay.
20 months later. So and now you're dealing with this almost a year and a half
15
later.
months.
15 months of him being indicted out of work. No money
So,
coming
but
in.
now you said he's married and has.
So he got married last September.
Okay.
Yeah, and then he has a new baby, a
Baby
baby girl.
Okay.
That's a blessing.
He pays. She is definitely, and again, we have the best support. His in-laws, his wife. God bless him. You know, our family. We just all we
Friends,
help the way that we can. But
How is he mentally
you know,
right now?
Now he has good days and bad days. He's having more bad days than good days right now.
he's frustrated with
But
the
what-
system because
Oh,
in his
yeah.
eyes, I did everything
Yeah.
right. Why am I here?
You know, it's like screaming against a brick wall. I'm so helpless. I can only imagine how painful it is. And listen, let's not forget there's a life that was lost. And
Absolutely.
and in many cases, the individual may have encouraged his own life to be taken. I think that that's what we're really dealing with here. It's still tragic. But now the lives of your family and his child and
For doing his job.
for doing his job.
correctly.
Yeah.
So it just leads us to so many different avenues and roads we can go down. It's so important for like yourselves, people to get involved. You know, I started that political action committee to help get pro police officials elected, state and local level. We played in 15 states. We got about 69 candidates elected out of I think like 125 that we endorsed. And you know, it's not enough. And you would have been surprised at how many people wouldn't donate who were cops. A lot of cops. I mean, this was to get Larry Krasner removed from office. I didn't get that much support from police officers. I couldn't believe it. I thought for sure, you know, all my donors will be cops. Nope, everyday citizens.
Yeah.
So we got to start helping ourselves. Number one.
Well,
You
that's
know,
why.
police officers are our own worst enemies. We really are. We can fuck up a lot.
That's the sad-
a lot of good stuff.
It's sad
It's
to say
true.
that, but it's
true.
true. I-
We need to start helping ourselves. Retired cops, active cops need to get active politically at the state and local level to start effective change, to make change happen. If not, these radicals are going to keep coming in, taking place of normal people, whether they're Democrat or Republican. The old blue dog Democrats really don't exist anymore.
But do they really
It's
get
these
elected
radicals.
or do they get selected? See, that's the
That's
other
another
issue
thing. That's why
that we're dealing with.
You
They
can't
put
get
in
neither
who
if
they
you don't
wanna
run.
put in.
That's true.
Now we have a new head of the OPIA, Drew Skinner. So I don't know. We hope he would look into this case and look at the facts again and see that this is just nonsense, because that's what I started doing. Once I started, that window opened for me of opportunity when I heard about all this corruption. And there's many cases and many articles with NewJersey.com and different newspapers that are writing about this corruption. Joe Cryan is calling for support for his bill. I've sent letters to senators. I mean, I'm going on Instagram. I'm sending letter to podcasters, people who, like, I sent a letter to Mar-a-Lago. I would love for President Trump to get a hold of this because,
we can make that happen.
he supports the blue, and we're big supporters of him. And that's what we need to do. We need to stand together.
Okay, but New
and fight
Jersey,
this.
you elected a man that was arrested.
I didn't,
for Senate.
because I live in Philadelphia,
Right.
but they did.
The people in Jersey elected a senator and then elected him again.
Mendez, right?
Again, were they elected or were they selected to carry out what they're
Well,
supposed
the
to be doing?
Democrats really don't elect.
So,
they select. And
they select.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
select. So that's a big part of the problem.
Let me ask you this: who's Salvatore's counsel?
Chris St. John is his attorney.
Good.
I like him. I do. I think he's very good. I think he's very effective. The problem is
Money.
no. We the PBA. He's covered 100% with his plan.
Okay.
It's it's two parts here. One is they don't want to hear it. Like, we've had motions to throw this out. We've had many items that we wanted to speak about, but the judge says no. We're only allowed to speak about these three. It's
The whole system.
It's the whole
okay,
people.
it's
And I
lawfare.
wish I could speak more about it, but
Yeah.
what we're coming up against, it's just
It's lawfare.
It sounds like when Trump said, I want to bring in this video of this woman on Anderson Cooper's show saying, rape is sexy.
Yes, but then they don't.
And they
show
go,
that,
no,
right?
no, you can't have that in the courtroom at this sex hearing that he got convicted of some kind of sex thing, but he didn't do
Well,
anything.
this is what they want to do. They want to drag it out and ruin his life, so he takes a plea deal. We're not taking a plea deal. There's nothing to plead here. There's
Absolutely
no
not.
policy, no violation.
Easier for me to
nothing.
say that.
Yeah.
I'm not looking at jail time.
And the other thing
Right.
is, when you're involved in a shooting in New Jersey, the AG is the only law enforcement agency that can move you out of jurisdiction and give you a change of venue to their benefit.
Oh, to their benefit.
So they moved it from Gloucester County
Candy.
to,
Oh, wow.
Camden County. From
Yeah.
Gloucester County
To Camden County.
Sure. So it's
know.
not as favorable as his peers. So it's necessary his peers
I
wouldn't.
mean, his lawyer, in my opinion, is doing everything that he can. I mean, we're definitely, he's in contact with us all the time. He feels confident.
Good.
Well,
Well, I'm happy to hear that.
So, but it's, look at the people we have. This is the problem.
Is there a
You're-
GoFundMe for Sal?
There's a give, send, go
Okay.
that we have, that
send
we
it to you.
Okay.
started. We can
Yeah, we'll
hopefully-
put that in the show notes
Yeah.
that they
we
can
would
click on.
appreciate
And listen, the
that.
thing
Yeah.
you said about the cops, they really need to be more involved with each other. And from my perspective, of course, being a bad cop, before I went bad and there were a lot of scandals in the city.
Oh,
Okay,
I should get some of that dug up money here and
Yeah, well,
dig it up.
if they let me go in my backyard, but someone else owns the property right now, so it's not going to be easy. But it's 28 Norton Avenue, Port Jefferson Station, right by the side of the pool. If you go to the right in the back, you might find that big load. But the point is, cops get lethargic. What's the proper
Complacent.
complacent. Thank you. The lexicon is really broad here. And a teacher with us, so that's definitely the proper term. They get complacent, and they're like, someone else will do it. Someone else will do
I
it.
think that's
It's not
everybody
that
in life in
important.
general. Everybody thinks that.
And we ruin shit all the time for us, right? How many times you get a restaurant to give you free meals?
Yeah.
Next thing you know, there's a cop or two to
Nine-
show up
Yeah.
that's
Off-duty.
off duty,
Off duty.
bringing food home for
Yeah.
their family,
Yeah.
and then you go in here and like, I can't do that shit. I mean,
Yeah.
same thing. Again, I couldn't believe Larry Krasner is one of the biggest pieces of shit in this country. he's a district attorney in Philadelphia. I fucking
He
hate that
hates
man.
you.
Oh, he does hate me.
He hates your
Does not
fucking
like
guts.
me whatsoever, which is fine.
I saw him on film one day
Yeah.
ripping into you, and I'm
Yeah.
like, "Is that Mike Mickey G that he's
Yeah,
talking
yeah,
about?
yeah.
You should know who this cop is. He's no good." Or
Yeah,
something.
yeah,
He was
yeah,
going
yeah.
on and on. I'm like, "Wait a minute."
I'm the bad cop in his eyes.
I need to replay that, So how did you get out of the job anyway? People on our show don't know.
Yeah, I got injured on duty. Nothing spectacular.
You didn't get shot?
No, I didn't get shot. Nothing. Just the surgery didn't go right, and here I am.
Mentally disturbed?
Yeah, mentally disturbed. But that being said, trying to get this scumbag Krasner, who attacks Philly police officers, locks us up constantly. I mean, how many active cops that are back on the job now were arrested by him? A dozen or two?
So what about the Philly Six? You know them, right? The Philly Six?
The
Six
narcotics.
narcotics cops, that the one guy that was the bad guy got the deal?
Oh yeah, he's the one that was doing all this shit.
Yeah.
And to get out of it, he made a bunch of nonsense up.
Yeah.
Yeah, Walt Disney telling
I met the
stories.
six of them one
Yeah,
day.
those guys are all good guys at that.
They were good guys, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like,
And they're not dirty.
they weren't
were
dirty.
good-
They were
good
doing their
dudes.
job, from what I understand, and they all got their jobs back?
They all got their jobs back. How funny
Now,
is
was
that?
he involved in that?
Oh, yeah,
Krasner?
absolutely. Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yes.
That's their jobs.
Yeah.
These
That's going back
Soros-
quite some time
That's
now.
what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to. He's doing his job. Krasner's doing his job, locking up
Well,
the cops.
No.
Going
Krasner's
after
looking to lock up good cops.
good cops. Correct.
Yeah.
I'm
we
sorry.
want him to lock up the Mike Dowds of
Thank
the
you.
Philadelphia Police
That's
Department.
what I'm saying.
Yeah. We don't want him to lock up the Salvatore.
Right.
of
The Salvatore
Philadelphia.
Andrade.
All righties.
Yeah.
Dirty.
And it's just he.
It's only
So
drug
we
money.
had-
It's only drug money.
Listen, during the George Floyd riots, we had 2,000 protesters locked up. With the wave of his hand, he got rid of all their
Yeah.
charges. But he reviewed thousands of hours of film, and he arrested a couple cops. They all which won their cases and got their jobs back. And this is what he's doing. But this is
I
what
know, we
all
know.
these attorney generals and district attorneys of this ilk are doing across the
But
country.
what's the end game? I mean,
The end game is the collapse of our structure, so they can bring in their socialism, their Marxism. That's the end game. That's their plan.
I mean,
That's what Soros
that's-
is
is
doing.
that-
And you know what? People don't see that.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
people,
your son, unfortunately, is
people don't
caught
see
up
that.
in a global game.
yeah.
And it's 10 years ago you would say this guy's a fucking nut job,
Right.
and now we actually see this is what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
This is the truth. And, it's Soros, pretty fucking smart, man. He caught us with our pants down, going in through state and local level with all these district attorneys that are radicals.
Right.
They're look at all the mayhem being caused across the country. The George Floyd riots, all this bullshit is directly related to what George Soros did.
And that's just a little segue into temperature down for a moment here on your son's situation. This illegal immigrant shit, right? Is that not also part of the deal? Because seems to be no accountability.
Votes.
There's
Again.
there's no accountability. They're not subject to the same laws.
Where's our
that we're
military?
subject
That's what I
to.
want to know. Where's our military? You're supposed to take an oath to defend against foreign and domestic.
Well,
Yeah.
Where
You heard President
that's why I
Biden.
need Donnie. You got to call Donald up. I need to have a meeting.
You heard Biden say he was going to attack the Texas National Guard if they stood up down at the border or some shit like that. He made reference to it.
Yeah.
It's
Where's our
crazy. Like you
backup?
said, selection. The immigration is part of their selection for their candidates.
Mm-hmm.
Look, they're flipping. Ted Cruz is in trouble in Texas. How the hell is that happening?
And we're not
Illegal
even
immigrants.
seeing half-
Arizona's purple now. Never would have happened. It's immigrants.
We're not even
It's
seeing
their selection.
half of what's happening because it's being kept from us behind the scenes. So
Yeah, well, you have the complicit media, and in many
They're
cases,
turning the frogs gay. And that's true.
Yeah.
Who would have thought that shit?
the
Like-
frogs.
Yeah, 10 years ago, we all laughed at Alex Jones and thought it was hysterical. And now they're like, oh, yeah, the frogs are turning gay to put chemicals in the water. Everyone's like, oh, okay. And just move on with our
chemicals in
day.
the food, the
Yeah,
water,
it's crazy,
the air.
The shit that's going on. And it's all part of their game. And unfortunately, your son's caught up in this bullshit.
He is, and that's why
Yeah.
we're speaking up, and that's
Yeah,
why
it's
we are making sure that
it's not
anybody
clear on
that
its
listens to
face.
us-
That's the problem. If you don't show somebody the plan, if you don't,
They
when
don't
When I
care.
was in prison, if there was chicken on the menu, okay, you don't believe it till you get to the fucking chow hall, okay? Because you get to that chow hall and that liver is on that fucking plate. You're not a happy camper. So you never believe what you see till you actually
Amen.
see it. They can tell you anything. The schedule says this. But if you don't go see it yourself, you ain't getting chicken.
See, you're pretty fucking smart, Mike.
Yeah.
And this is what they're doing. I call it education through headlines. They'll give you a headline and they'll educate you with what they want because they know you're not going to read the article.
right.
So they might say Trump took foreign money, lock him up. But then in the article say Trump was alleged to take foreign money, but it's proven that he did not in the article.
Right.
But the headline said now you're going around saying, do you hear
Well, it's the
Trump
same
took foreign
Trump
money?
take foreign money.
It's the same headlines for my son.
so
The
Yeah.
officer pulls up within 3 seconds. Well, they don't show you the body cam footage.
As-
19 seconds
And even that
prior,
footage there they cut down.
they cut that footage.
oh, shocker. So they edited it.
And they manipulated the grand jury
They blew up.
because the first week they bring the grand jury in,
Posters.
they don't find nothing.
Right.
They bring him back the second.
Hold
week.
on. So the first, so there's
So
a
like
second.
election interference,
Yeah, so there's a second.
we have
second attempt
interference
at
with the grand jury.
Oh, they bring it back the next week. They blow up
It's-
these life-size
I can't.
photos of the guy holding a gun, and they'll be like, "Oh, see, he had a gun, but it was like it wasn't pointing at his head; it was pointing at the officer's
When really,
chest."
doesn't
That
matter.
doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
That doesn't matter.
But they
People don't wanna
manipulate him
hear
to
that,
make them
though.
think that,
Right.
Right.
and they don't know any better.
Right.
You
Right.
know?
Of course.
And not only that, too, your body cam footage is here, right?
Right.
So if my body cam footage is facing forward and my head's turned,
That's
over,
right.
you're not getting what's over
That's
here.
correct.
So you're not getting. They want that body cam footage to be every piece of evidence.
Yeah.
That's not
No.
real
No.
life.
It's any threat thereof.
Right.
It doesn't have to be pointed
You
at you.
can't point
You don't
guns
even
at
have to
police
see the
officers.
damn
That's
gun.
No.
All I have to say is I have a gun in my hand. I'm going to kill you.
That's
if I
it.
drop my shoulder a little bit, the cop is justified to shoot me.
Right.
But they don't want people to know that that's their narrative. That they don't want them to know what their job is and what they can and can't do. Again, as tragic as it is, all across,
Terrible.
it's terrible. But we have to stand up and do something. This is just absolutely wrong what they're doing to him. Mark Jedigan, who is one of the officers who was the prison guard who was involved in the same thing. They're back to work 4 years, their whole life, and then they have mobs of people that are saying hateful
getting
things.
doxxed.
And you're saying we're not talking about opinions here. We're talking about facts. People have to learn the
Yep.
facts. They have to learn the policies, the procedures. Do your research. I'm tired of these people, and I'm getting I'm getting fired up now.
Yeah.
At least you're not banging the
I'm getting
table.
fired up. I'm
Yeah.
banging.
Well,
but,
So let's go over the facts real quick. Let's go over the facts. So Salvatore is responding. He's backing up his corporal, who already had a gun pulled on his head. Corporal pulls away. Salvatore pulls up. Corporal says, "Guy's got a gun." Salvatore hops out of the car, lights him up, sees a gun,
Say
goes
lights him
back
up, puts the flashlight
puts the
out.
flashlight on him.
Illuminates.
Because
what he
people
said.
light you up with a bullet.
Okay, you're right.
Yeah,
Very good.
illuminates.
Yeah.
He illuminates the suspect again and sees a gun pointed at him, clear as day. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. He returns fire. As the guy's on the ground, he's attempting to pull the gun up and shoot Salvatore. Salvatore throws a couple more rounds at him. Then it's over. Then he goes into life-saving measures, first aid, CPR. He gets the AED out, hooks him
So
up,
I think
gets
some-
him to a hospital. So it's cut and dry, right?
So
The
something
facts?
we're missing along the way here is this. When I first heard the phone call, the 9/11 tape, I said something's wrong with this man. That's the first, like within 3 seconds, something's wrong with this man. Was that a real gun?
That was a replica 45.
Okay, so what's a fucking guy who's a military guy doing, walking around with a fake gun?
Suicide by cop.
Suicide by trying to get himself killed.
Yeah.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, should put the icing on the cake.
And you cannot tell these replica airsoft guns from a real one.
Doesn't matter.
Not even holding it.
It doesn't
you can't.
matter.
I tell you what to do. Let's put 2 on the table. Let's get a volunteer to come in, who doesn't know about guns, in low lighting, and put the gun up to their head and pull the
you
trigger.
don't
Let's
need,
see
you
if
don't
they
need to
can
go
pull
that
it.
far. You don't
Let's
need, many,
try it.
many a man has died with a fake gun in his
I
hand.
had an
okay?
M4 airsoft gun on my table, and my roommate, who's a Marine, walks in, picks it up, and goes to charge it. Well, it's fake, and just rips the charging thing right out. I'm like,
Right.
"What are you doing, asshole? It's a fake gun. It's a BB gun.
yeah, this
I
gun
thought
is-
it was real."
Yeah.
This guy had the action work. You could
Yeah,
pull
it's-
the slide back. He had dummy rounds. He had a magazine there, and it would eject dummy rounds out.
Right, yeah.
Everything was real. Even his
Yeah.
neighbors thought it was a real
And
gun.
you know-
That, I don't give
They
a
have
fuck.
It don't matter.
I
It
don't
doesn't
give a
matter,
fuck.
right?
And
So
I
that
have to
has
say
CO2
that
in
Many
it.
a
So when you
person
pull the
has
trigger,
died with a fake gun in their hand.
And he's military, so you're trained right
Yeah.
away. You don't point a gun unless you expect to use it or to be. I mean, this was.
He's out chasing bad guys from his house with a fake gun.
So
Something's
this-
wrong with this guy.
this fake gun, so people know, it has CO2 cartridge in it.
This one
So, it didn't.
No,
No.
this had real bull. He had a magazine.
So when he pulls the trigger, it ejects it, right?
He pulled the trigger. Well, I don't know because he had a stop in the barrel. I think partially
The
stopped.
round, the slide
and the
comes
fire
back.
pin was moved.
Okay.
Right.
So
right.
But you
replica
could
looks
you could check it out for the
exactly
fire
like
pin
the
back in there.
original.
And it would work.
It looks exactly like the original.
Yeah.
And again, you're in low light
Unbelievable.
conditions. You know,
It's
Ma,
it's
you're
a cut.
defending the defenseless.
Yeah.
That's not
I'm
important.
just,
That's not
understand.
important.
It's
I'm
a
just
cut-
annoyed with
I
all
know,
these people.
I know.
Mike,
Cut and dry.
Yeah, we had a riot in my neighborhood in 1970. It could have been 71 because a police officer from our neighborhood shot a young 11-year-old boy in Queens. And he shot him. He had a fake gun. He pointed the fake gun at the cop. The cop shot and killed the kid.
Well, sure, yeah.
11 years old. Huh?
It's tragic.
Sad, it's tragic. Of course, it was a black and white issue because the kid was a black child and the cop was a white guy from Long Island, my hometown, Brentwood. And Al Sharpton was there with the bus.
Yeah.
Marching around his house and his community, so the guy ended up having to move out and quit,
Yeah.
leave the job, move to Florida. Sad, right? Sad. An 11-year-old child killed.
well, and he has to live with that too.
It has to,
That-
well,
that's
family,
like
the
what my
family
son's
lost a
going
child.
through.
Your family
It's
lost.
tragic.
You're losing the son that he was
Right.
because he's
He'll
tragically.
never be the
So
police
He's
officer that
tragically
he
been
was.
changed. Yeah, I mean,
Salvatore didn't go out that day wanting to kill anybody, nor did he ever want to go out and kill
so,
anybody.
so
None of us
I'm
do.
going to ask a fair question. It might be tough. Has he killed anybody else?
No.
My son?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Never been involved in any other shootings.
Was he in shootings before?
No.
Was he around shootings where others have shot, and your son
Oh.
reserved fire? Has that ever been the case?
Sure. He's been where he's had when he's locked somebody up,
Yeah.
they've had guns. So
Yes,
He had to
okay.
be prepared.
Right.
But when he was in Camden, his best friend and his partner, Pat O'Hanlon, was
Good Irish
on
guy.
yeah.
Is that the Hanlon?
No, I don't think
No, okay.
It could be. I don't know.
Good Irish guy.
He was responding to some suspects.
Grower, not a shower. Good.
And my son was en route to the scene. And then at that time, Pat got into a scuffle with one of them. Pat, the officer, was shot in the leg by the suspect.
Mm-hmm.
And then the suspect put the gun to Pat's head and pulled the trigger and it jammed.
Jesus.
So my son pulls up on the scene. They pull up. They were able, and he was still able to fight. Pat, God bless him, and get
Like a
get him
Tommy
locked
Morrow
up.
here, almost, right? Yeah.
But when Salvatore's also an EMT, so when he pulls up, he's searching him for where he's bleeding. He
Right.
sees that it's his leg, and he had a tourniquet. And no other officers had a tourniquet.
Right.
He put the tourniquet on the leg. They threw him in the back of the police car. Took him to the
Saved his
hospital.
life.
Saved his life. The
Did he
doctor
hit
said
the main vein in the fucking?
Thank God, no.
Well, he
Was-
hit the great vein. He didn't
Yeah.
Oh
hit his
yeah, okay.
artery.
I mean,
Yeah.
thank God
And he
it was
lost
a
a lot
clean
of blood.
strike
Yeah.
right there. But
Yeah.
they said he would have bled out.
Just in
Salvatore
4 minutes, if you
had
hit that main one, it's over.
So Salvatore's been involved in a lot of like high stress incidents, especially when he was in Camden.
Right.
But talk to me and tell me.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know,
again,
because they.
He's
do
a
what
real
they have to
cop.
do.
He's experienced.
He's
He
a
had 2
cop.
years-
He's a cop
yeah.
scout.
He didn't shoot people
2
just
years of
random.
being a real
Right,
cop.
he just didn't go around.
Because so many articles say he just has a gun-happy guy. He had his gun out all the time. Or,
Yeah,
you know,
that's that narrative. That's
Right?
Let's try to paint him into a bad picture.
Right.
Listen, police officers have that gun as their weapon. It's their tool.
15 to 20 times
It's
a day
their
mine
tool.
came out, and that's a fact.
Okay, they are, they can't misuse it or abuse it, which this is not the case. But sometimes you have to take your gun out. That is a tool.
So
And
I
for
pointed
people to
out a
think
lieutenant one
doesn't happen,
time.
That's not true. Go ahead, tell your story.
I pointed out a lieutenant one time.
Listen, we had someone in 24th pull their gun on a sergeant in the ops room. You heard that one? Oh yeah, I ain't gonna say who it was, but
I had a foot post.
two different
I had a
factions
foot
in the
post.
police department squashed it. I walked in, I saw the gun out, I walked right back,
See, you had a good day.
went right back to my car, went on the street.
I had a
Didn't
foot post
see
in the
shit.
rain, and the lieutenant's following me. Listen, it's fucking raining out. I'm wearing my raincoat, which I never have with me, but I had it that day. I got in the back of a limousine. The lieutenant drove by. I got out of the back of this limousine. I said, "Oh, the fucking lieutenant's here looking for me." I get out. I'm in a raincoat because it's raining out. I'm watching a building that's going to get blown up. I'm the guy now, right? So the lieutenant comes by and he looks at me. He goes, "It's not fucking wet." he goes, "Where's this limousine?" I said, "What limousine?" I said, "You're fucking crazy." I told him, "You're blind. You're crazy. You're an asshole." And he goes, "Let me see your memo book." I said, "It's raining out. I can't take my memo book out in the fucking rain. It's going to get wet." So I go inside this phone booth. And he follows me to the phone booth. So I take my gun and I point my gun under the raincoat at him like this. He goes, "What are you doing?" I go, "What do you mean, what am I doing?" He goes, "You're pointing the gun at me." I go, "Yeah, because you never know when I'm going to need it."
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, He looks at me, his eyes go like this, and he starts running. And he's wearing
Statute of limitations up on this story.
I don't give a fuck. He's wearing shoes, like slip-on shoes, and he wore a bow tie. He wore the bow tie, right? He had a bow tie and a suit jacket on. He's running down the street to get back into his car to get away from me, and I'm laughing my fucking ass off.
Yeah, no, my son never did any of
No, no,
that. We gotta keep him away from you. Because,
All right, but I'm saying, so there's that other side. There's that other side of police work, right? And your son, he's got the flashlight on. It's ready. I mean, he's fucking on. He's on point. I'm chasing
there's other
lieutenants
things
with
that-
guns, and your son's responding like a fucking professional.
The other things they're talking about in the newspaper, like the I think it was pulled his gun on the dog, like a dog shoot. They were making an arrest, and they let the dog out. Well, you know,
Wait.
dogs.
They're reporting that he pulled a gun on a dog.
Yeah.
Or he said
Yeah.
he was.
He didn't shoot the
Right.
dog?
Yes,
that's
I heard that. I heard about the dog.
That's what he's speaking.
They were
of.
serving a warrant for a guy for
Listen, I mean,
terroristic
it's-
threats or something.
Yeah, so this is what happens. The media is involved.
The media is
You know,
the
they
worst.
get to work. Yeah, to spin.
Fake news.
Because this is
over
what
them.
the AG's office releases to the media.
Yep.
And we questioned a couple people. We're like, where'd you get this information? It's all wrong.
Yeah.
This is what the AG told us. So you're an investigative reporter. You should do some investigation
No, there's no investigativeness
before you,
in the
you put
reporter.
anything out. But they want to put their story out
Right.
to their cronies
Yeah.
to try the job in the media.
Have you guys talked to Ralph Cipriano yet?
I didn't. I like to.
All right, so for our listeners, you should check out Ralph Cipriano, bigtrial.net. He has a lot of good information. It's covering Philadelphia and the tri-state area.
Yeah.
I'll hook you up
We're
with
looking
Ralph.
for people that will
Ralph's an
help us
investigative
elevate
reporter.
this.
Yeah.
We're looking for people to
Ralph
help
will be that.
listen to us again, help elevate us, point us in the right directions. I want to help Senator Joe Cryan. I've reached out to their office many
We want to
times.
help all these guys.
We want to do what we can.
Did
to
you hear
be-
back from the senator?
I haven't heard back from anybody.
All right.
The first person that's called me back was Tyler Hoover and Brent from the Anti-Hero.
Okay.
They were the first, and we immediately flew to Florida, and then of course you guys. So
All right, we'll help you.
we're
We'll get.
looking to help raise money, make awareness.
We
Help
just had a state rep on here yesterday.
Yeah.
Actually, check out the podcast just dropped
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
Eric Adams.
Yeah.
You know, we'll get in touch and we'll put the senator in touch with you guys. We'll help you guys out.
Yeah.
Is there anything you guys want to touch on? Before we close up here.
Yeah, I mean, the shooting was a justifiable shooting. He was cleared by the AG's
Yeah.
office.
his own people.
And
their own
just
people.
a frivolous indictment, you know.
You know, we throw these terms around shooting. You know, I hate that term, shooting. Like, it's almost like we're aggressive. But no, that's, you know, like it sounds like you're
It's
aggressive.
true.
Yeah.
He's in a shooting. He was a shooter. He's a police officer doing his fucking job.
Or my
They're
favorite
tools
is
of your
well,
trades.
right. Oh, just can you just shoot him in the arm or shoot him?
Uh,
I heard that
you
already
know? And
twice.
then they hit the vein. I mean,
Well,
don't they know you have? major
Biden said
orders,
that
like-
as a president.
Yeah.
Remember?
Shoot him in the leg.
Just shoot him in the
Do
leg.
you- and then people don't understand like the trainings, and they should put all these people that are naysayers about police. I encourage you to go right along
Yeah.
in the Badlands
Do a
of
simulator.
America and do the simulator where you have a split second to make the decision. And until you do that, keep your mouth shut. That's what I
mean,
have
it's
to
easy
say.
to do Monday morning quarterbacks on from the comforts of your couch.
That video just goes to show you what he did was exactly by the book.
And if you
By the
post on your site the 911 call along with the body cam footage,
Yeah, we'll post it all.
people will get to see
Yeah.
and understand. But again, if you're not familiar with what you're looking for,
So we have a meeting today with an interesting guy.
Oh, yeah.
After this.
Yes.
Let's see what comes from that.
Well, why
Yeah.
don't you
Blue Magazine.
give him a plug? The Blue
the
Magazine
Blue
is
Magazine,
fantastic.
who's Jersey based and out of Patterson, but they cover the state of Jersey. I think
Yeah,
I think
Dan will be
they're
interested.
into PA and Connecticut, and I think the state of New York, but New York City is such a scumbag operation. They featured me, an article about me in the Blue Magazine. Okay, so why? You say, oh, what? Because Danny, the owner, I guess, of the magazine, he's retired. I think he's retired sheriff, something like. He wants to know. So he wants to talk. He wants to know why you did this, Dowd, and what are you doing today, and what are you making a difference, and did things change in your life, and what was the effect on who, your family, your friends, your neighbors, your community, the police itself, and what can we find in redemption? Is there a redemptive aspect to everybody? So Danny takes risks. It was a big risk. He put Bernie Kerrick. Remember Bernie Kerrick, the New York City Police Commissioner? He featured him in his magazine. He said, and I'll use this term loosely, you can't have boobs on the cover of a magazine every week.
Yeah.
He says, because that's what gets attention and that's what gets picked up. He said, so I have to put sometimes risque personalities in his magazine, and Kerrick was the first one, right? A disgraced police commissioner. And what are we talking about Caban today? You don't know this story, do you? Caban, the police commissioner in New York City?
No.
He's
Oh yeah,
on the verge of being
embroiled in
in the verge of being indicted and racketeering.
real police corruption.
Yeah,
It just came out a couple weeks ago.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
real police
yeah, but,
corruption,
I mean,
not the nonsense
yeah,
going
no,
after your
real
son.
deep shit.
Well,
you
that's
know?
what it is.
Stuff
The
that
ones
I
that
wish
are
I could.
preaching.
Stuff that I wish I could. That's some. They're getting systematic payoffs from big people, you know, and
For years.
For years.
Decades.
The
Deep.
ones that are preaching it,
Yes.
Yeah.
you know,
They're
preaching
running
down
it.
to the
And-
ones who are doing the dirty work.
Usually what happens.
They're the corrupt ones.
And Mayor Adams is handpicked commissioner.
Yep.
So you
Go
tell
figure.
me what's going on.
Yep.
You talked about Patterson, New Jersey. That was one of the shootings where the AG investigated, where the officer there said the guy had a gun and he didn't have the gun, and they find guns and they're saying, no, it wasn't this guy's gun that he shot. Long story short, they indict that cop.
Uh-huh.
And they sat on the evidence for 3 years. And in the bad guy's phone is the bad guy holding the guns.
Okay.
You know?
And the gun's there at the scene.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is, the prosecutor on that case is one of the prosecutors on my son's
Oh,
case.
wow.
Okay, good. So this is
Yeah.
good.
So it's a history of corruption.
They withheld that.
And they
for 8
withheld that,
months.
and here
So Matt
they were true.
Plankton's
They were true.
crew withholding evidence that
Well,
would
there's many articles. I can send
exculpatory
you the
evidence.
articles.
What are you
of all
what are you doing after the
this.
show today? Are you got anywhere
I thought you were
specific you
taking us
have to
out to
be?
dinner. I don't know.
Yes.
No, no.
You said drinks and dinner. Somebody said that. I'm
So I
hungry.
think I yeah.
I saw your American Express card, dude. You're paying. That shit's metal.
Yeah.
I don't have a metal credit card in my pocket.
It was well. So the point is, we should maybe bring him to see Danny.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think if you're up
We're
to
free.
that, if you're up to that.
We've got that
Okay, so
going
let's
on.
wrap this up. Thank
Yeah,
you guys. Go to goodcopbadcoppodcast.com. Check out our merchandise. Me and Mike are wearing it right now. You can buy this on the site. Please smash that subscribe button on YouTube. Check us out on Spotify. Go
Before
on
we
our
cut
website.
out, where can we get to? Give us a contact for you that you want people to know.
Yep.
The contact.
Contact for you.
Any
Whatever.
kind of, the
Email,
send me-
website,
which is all in the show
Instagram.
notes. We're gonna put it in the show notes.
Yeah, we'll
What would
put
you
we'll put it in the show notes. We could put his Give Send Go.
which is like a GoFundMe, but
His Give
for
Send Go.
cops.
And then I'll give you an email that we can put
Okay,
in if anybody wants
perfect.
to reach out to help. No
Great.
hate mail because I don't want to hear from you people. I want to hear from good, love, light, positive people
Our-
that are here to help us.
our
We'll take
listeners
the
are
hate.
good.
We'll
Yeah.
take the
you
hate.
take
Send
We
the
like
hate
the
my
hate.
way.
We like the hate because the
But I'll give
haters,
you an
what do
email.
the haters do? They
Yep.
listen
I'll tell you what.
longer.
Matt Plankton. You want to raise some money for charity? I know the guy from Celebrity Boxing. I'll get in the ring with you. I'm a broken cop, man.
Yeah.
Winner's charity takes all.
Yeah.
Get in the
And I'll
ring,
be
you
the
bitch.
ref. And I'll be the ref.
Get in the ring, you bitch.
I'm taking Vig on the side. Let's go.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thanks.
This episode is sponsored by AR Law, PA State Rep Martina White, Biondo Creative, Morrow Flooring, and Pops McCann Whiskey.